Hi, everybody. I'm Danina Garrett, the creator and founder of the An Intimate Conversation with Women of Color podcast, which is sponsored by Deneen Consults. This podcast was created to provide women of color a platform to use our voices. So thank you so much for stopping by and enjoy today's episode. Welcome to another episode of An Intimate Conversation with Women of Color. I am your host, Deneen L. Garrett. Whether you're tapping in from YouTube or your favorite podcast platform, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Please continue to come back and check out the episodes. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Share, comment, want to hear from you, want to know what you think. You're greatly appreciated. Today's guest is Lisa Baker. She is a CEO and founder. Lisa shows high-performing professionals how to level up, get connected, get promoted, get wealth. We like that money, and live the life of their dreams. Lisa Baker, what else would you like the audience to know about you?
Oh, wow. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. I think probably the most important thing that I would like your audience to know about me is that I am passionate about helping people live their absolute best life. I think that we are all created to have a meaningful and abundant life, and I'm on a mission to help as many people as I can to realize that.
And you know what? We're on the same page there. So definitely on the same page there. It's just something that I've always, done and been about is helping people, like helping them to understand their passions and purposes, and actually, living it, right? Realizing that. So we're going to have a good time here. So you retired at the age of 54 to pursue your dreams of helping others to reach their peak. What was the catalyst of you answering this dream at that time?
Yeah, it was really something that started stirring up in my spirit before that, in the sense that I just had this feeling that it was time for me to do something different. And while I was doing well in my career, really at the top of my game, I just knew that there was more available to me. And so at the time, the organization that I was working with, Synchrony, offered a voluntary severance program to try and get people to leave the company so that we wouldn't have to lay off as many people during the pandemic. So I raised my hand and said, I volunteer, I'd like to be severed. And if I'm being candid, Denise, when I did that, I had no clue what I was going to do. I just knew that it was time for me to make that leap. So it was very much a walk of faith. And I'm so glad that I did.
That's awesome. So you took a leap of faith. And so that's what we want to make sure that our listeners or those that are watching, that they actually hear that. So you took a leap of faith.
Yeah.
You were presented an opportunity. You said yes to that opportunity, and you knew that something good was going to come out of it. So that's awesome. That's really good. So again, take that leap. You can do it. And Lisa and I are going to talk a little bit more about what she's doing now that she's taken that leap. So tell us a little bit about that. So you went ahead, you said yes, you severed, and
I
then
said yes, I severed. And, my thought was, I'm just going to have some downtime, relax for a while, and just kind of enjoy being retired. But it's like the ideas just started coming. Once I had that white space and was free of the demands of my job, the ideas just started to flow. And what I realized is that there's been a common theme throughout my life and my career, and that is all around this idea of growth. Whether it's helping someone to grow personally and professionally, whether it's growing my client's business when I was, managing big portfolios, that common theme is growth and helping someone to move from where they are now to where they really want to be. And so I'm like, you know what, I can put this together and do that as part of a coaching practice, because I've always enjoyed when I have the opportunity to mentor, coach, sponsor others. And so it just seemed like the perfect fit. And from those thoughts came Ascentum, which is my coaching practice.
Congratulations on that. And so I said, you know, I'm going to enjoy this conversation because we do have some similarities. So I recently retired, like you know, young, right? Was definitely not retirement age. My path was a little bit different because I had planned it for 18 months. So I knew I was leaving. I was just counting down. Counting down, and I really, you know what, like you, I plan to be retired, but then you know, your friends are like, but you know, you got so much to give, you know, there's, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And so, you know, when I prior to leaving, I said, okay, I will, you know, start Deneen Consults and start laying the foundation for that. And my intent was to help companies create women of color programs, which is what I was doing for the last 18 months with my company. And so that was like, yeah, okay, cool. And I'm just going to reach out to a few people because I'm not really trying to work.
Right.
Right. But then they're like, oh, well, what about coach? You should do coaching. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And so the thing about it, I'm more excited about the coaching piece for the reasons that you mentioned, you know, the growth, the being able to tap, you know, pour into other people, help them to live their best lives. And for me, it's live a dream lifestyle. And so I'm excited about that, but I'm still, you know, open to do or available to do the coaching, the consulting, and then speaking. So I'm totally in agreement with you. You know, we're, you know, touching and agreeing and in alignment with that. And so
Yeah.
how has it been for you?
Yeah, it really has been a fun journey. Now, I will tell you that it is tons of work. So I don't want anybody to get the impression that, you know, you leave and you start a business and it's just a life of leisure. No, ma'am. No, sir. It is a lot of work. If I'm honest, I am working harder now than I ever have. The big difference, though, is that I am more joyous
Yeah.
than I've ever been. I feel much more fulfilled. I know without a doubt that I'm making an impact. And when my clients, you know, achieve something that they didn't think was possible, or they thought it would take much longer and they get it sooner than they expected, like that makes all the work
Yeah.
worth it. And so I just love it. And you know, the thing that's so key, like you planned and you were on it. That's probably the ideal way to do it. Have a plan. But either way, you have to have the funds to
Mhm.
be able to make that kind of a shift. And
Yeah.
that's the key because we're both, like you said, chronologically too young to retire.
Yeah.
But retirement is not an age, it really is a financial number.
And you know what? And that's a great point because I did make sure that, you know, it worked financially. Otherwise, you know, I probably would not have done it. I wouldn't have done it. So it did make sense. And like I said, and I was prepared not to do any work beyond, right? I was prepared to just
Yeah.
continue living my dream lifestyle, continue traveling, continue, you know, going to events, etc. But you know what? I mean, my friends were right. I do have something to offer. And a lot of it is just natural. Like you know, I'm helping people to, you know, realize what their dreams are, and they didn't even ask me, you know. And it's
Yeah.
somebody says hi, and I'm like, da, 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 da. So you know, it makes sense to you know, make a business out of it, right? But still, for
Mhm.
me, it's still at my, you know, I'm still controlling it, and I, you know, and I set my schedule, right?
Yeah, that's
So
the key.
yeah, yeah. And so the way, you know, and so for those who are listening or watching, you decide how you want to approach it. You decide what, you know, how much energy you want to put into it. You know, Lisa, she said it's hard work, it's harder work, you know, than she's probably had before, but it's work that she gets fulfillment from, right? And it's she's choosing to do it and it's working for herself. And where, you know, with me, I want to invest and pour in other people, and I'm still going to continue to do, you know, the other things. So I'm not, you know, so I'm controlling how much time that I put into it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Either way,
That is
don't want to
it.
get burnt out, right? Because we can still get burnt out.
That's right.
Again, I'm not doing that. I already put in 20 plus years with a company. So at this point, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what it is, Denise? It's the difference between have to do and you
That
get to do.
get to do.
So I get to help people achieve things that they never imagined possible for themselves. I get to build a business to put my voice out there and
Yeah.
to help other women find their voice and discover what I call their area of greatness. I get to do that. And it's a choice that I make. It's answering my purpose. It's why I'm here. And so, even though it's a lot of work, it's a lot of hard work, there is so much joy in it and it's
Yeah.
freedom. This is my dream life.
Love it. Love it. And it has to be, right? It has to
Yeah.
be. And we came to a realization to whereas we can own our lives. Like we could have always, but I don't know that we really knew that before.
Yeah.
To me, I saw a shift in 2020. So I saw a shift of people were like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me I have agency over myself? And so, I saw it. It was they called it what the great
Resignation.
yeah, the great resignation, whatever you want to call it, people were an awakening. They were waking up and saying, you know what, you don't value me here. So let me go somewhere else where I'm valued. I'm going to value me first. And then if
Mhm.
you don't value me, then I can move. I can go somewhere else. I can do something else.
Yeah, that's it. And that's such a big part of what I do, particularly for women. So many women feel undervalued.
Mhm.
We get paid less than our male counterparts. In fact, the National Black Women's Equal Pay Day is coming up here in just a few days. And
Yeah.
for, listeners that may not know what that is, that's the day within the year that represents how long a Black woman has to work into the current year to earn the same pay that her white male counterpart earned by the end of last year.
Mm.
And so that means we have to work till the 21st of
Yeah.
September of 2022 to earn what our white male counterpart earned by December 31st of 2021. It's because we're getting paid 62 cents on the dollar. But when you know who you are and you really discover your area of greatness, that place where your purpose, passions, and strengths all align, and you take back your power, you realize, wait a minute, I'm powerful, I'm valuable. You learn how to communicate that with impact so you
Yeah.
can get paid what you're worth, do work that you love, and live life on your terms. That's the dream life.
It's a dream on your terms. Absolutely. So, I'm sure you're having this conversation with some of your clients, but what do you say to Black and other women of color who haven't tapped into their power and voice? What 3 actions will help them to own both?
Ooh, step number one is really to get clarity. Get crystal clear about who you are, what you value, and what the dream is for you. Because success, the dream looks very different from one person to another. Not all women are the same. Not all women of color are the same. So you got to get that clarity. That's step one. With that information, when you're really clear about who you are, what you value, what you bring to the table, the next thing is learning to communicate that in a
Mm.
very impactful way. So, a lot of what happens, I find this with my clients and women, especially women of color, we struggle with this imposter syndrome, feeling like we're not valuable. We shut ourselves down and kind of close off our own voices. That has to change. So you need to communicate with power. Like I can say, hey, I am Lisa L. Baker, and I show high performing women how to level up and get what
Yes.
they want. Listen, my clients get promoted faster than they ever thought they could. They're getting paid what they're worth. See, I'm confident about that because I know that's the value I deliver and I have the proof to back it up. So
Oh,
I can say that, and it's
receipts.
not
You got those
arrogant. I
receipts.
got the receipts. It's not arrogant, it's just a
It is
fact.
what it is. That's
It's
right.
just a fact. And so women often hesitate to speak that way of themselves, but you have to, because that's how you get paid what you're worth. When you know who you are and you walk into a room and they're offering you something that's less than your worth, because you know the value you bring, you can say no
Yeah.
and walk away, or you can say yes if,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
then ask for what you want.
Yes.
So
You
that's the second thing.
Before you get to the third thing, it's making me think about, that confidence is, oh my God, it's a game changer. Early last year. Yeah. Last year, I was about setting boundaries. And I was like, if it didn't align with my visions and goals, it was a no. I wasn't doing it. And I was so confident in that, more so than I had ever been. The point that I'm making is confidence looks good on a person. So
Oh,
wear
yeah.
it, right? Know you, like she said, know yourself, get clear about who you are and what you bring to the table. And be able to communicate it. Because if you can't, then
That's
nobody
right.
knows but you. Yeah. Okay. And so the third.
Yeah, and you really just said the third thing. It is setting really crystal clear boundaries as well. Having boundaries and knowing what they are for you. So those boundaries are about one, it's shielding yourself from things that don't align with this clarity about who you are and what you value. It's shielding yourself from things that or people who don't understand your value or your worth, because you don't have to try to prove to anybody.
Yeah.
They either get it or they don't.
Right.
Right. So it's being real, having a real guard for yourself around who you allow in, what you allow in. Because if it's not supporting your vision, if it's not bringing you closer to what you dream of, it's not for you. And that is a beautiful thing, because you can easily then know what to say yes to
Mhm.
and what to say no to, because we're taking on often too many things that don't align with who we are. They aren't adding any value, but we feel like we have to.
Yep.
No, you don't have to.
No, no, you absolutely don't. And that's where the clarity comes in. So pivoting a bit, I honor my late sister, author and poet Soul True, by asking about dreams deferred, the title of one of her books. Please share a dream deferred moment.
Oh, wow. There have been many along the way. But I will tell you that one of them is when I was younger and, having kids and all of that. And I really wanted to be able to travel and see the world. And it wasn't even because of the kids. My um, ex-husband, the person I was married to at that time, we had really different values and plans about where we wanted our life to be. And so I put off a lot of things, but one of them was, traveling and seeing the world. And so, but that traveling, being able to see the world, learning about other cultures and people, that's part of the dream life for me.
Yes.
And so I decided, like, no longer, not waiting till the kids get older, not waiting until, we put these limitations on ourselves. Oh, when I lose the weight, when I get the new job, when the kids get to a certain age, the reality is those things may not come.
Right.
So do what you want to do now. Now is what we have. And so I am no longer about deferring things that are part of my dream. I set a realistic date, make plans to get there, and then I do.
I love that. I love that. You put a plan in action, and that's
Mhm.
beautiful. And that's what this year has been about for me. And it's funny because I was texting and I need to reply to her, but a friend of mine's who she runs travel groups, she reached out and say, hey, you want to go on the Zephyr train? And I have been looking at the Zephyr train for a while. So it goes out of Chicago and it ends up and it goes along to the San Francisco area. And so we were supposed to talk about it the weekend of Labor Day. And so I texted today, like, hey, what's going on with Zephyr? So we've come down to a date. We're going to do this in December. But yes, exactly what you said. For me, the dream lifestyle, like core, is traveling. And I was traveling even before I retired, right? Because just like you said, I'm doing it now. I don't need to wait for any particular time to be able to do it. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I actually started doing it in 2021 intentionally, like making, I had said I would go somewhere at least every month. It didn't necessarily work out every month. It actually,
Mhm.
sometimes I went on a trip 2 or 3 times a month. So that's a beautiful thing. But anyway, so 2022
Yeah.
has been a year of living a dream lifestyle for me, which overlaps with the work that you're doing that you've already said. So what does it mean to you, beyond what you share, outside of your career? How are you living a dream lifestyle?
Oh my gosh. The first and most important thing to me in living a dream lifestyle is honoring God.
Mm,
I know that God created me with a great plan and purpose, and so honoring His plan and purpose for my life really is the dream. Because I think the worst possible thing that can happen is to be successful at something that is not what God intended for you.
mm,
So that's the first part of it. The second thing is all about people. I think everything that we'll ever have or desire in this life is likely to come through another person. So for me, the dream is having a broad and diverse network and really then building connections, meaningful connections with people. Life is just much more fun. It's easier when you've got great people
yeah,
along for the journey with you. And so that's part of my dream. And then the third thing is giving back. I am really passionate about supporting others. I've been abundantly blessed. And so I try to give back. So my coaching practice, I've committed to giving 20% of the revenue that I earn from coaching back to support financial literacy and people who are in underserved communities. But just personally, also, one of my dreams that I am working to fulfill is to start a family foundation so that I can give on a much broader scale. So, that for me is the dream. I'm doing work I love, I can travel and have those fun things, but honoring God with my life, being connected with great people, and giving back.
I love all of that. I'm telling you, we have so many similarities. First, another one is my middle initial is L, and I do use it. So Deneen L. Garrett,
Okay.
right? And I'm, and when I see my name just Deneen Garrett, I'm like, look, you forgot my middle initial.
Where's my L?
Add my L. Like, oh, you messing with now it's a brand, so you messing with my brand.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah,
I love all of
I use my middle initial intentionally because it is my way of bringing my parents along with me for
Oh,
this journey. My middle name is my maiden name,
okay.
and my parents um, were poor and uneducated, but hardworking, loving people, and I'm sure they had many dreams that they didn't get to realize for themselves, but their children were everything. And so when I bring my L along with me,
You
that's
bring a
just my
legacy. Yes.
way, yes, of bringing my parents on this journey with me.
Now that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And as you were talking, I'm like, L also stands for legacy. So yeah, the legacy of your parents is a way to and I made a note to add it to your name. So, because look, we don't want to leave the
Yeah.
parents behind.
We can't leave them, we have to bring them
We have
along,
to
yeah.
bring them along. That is so beautiful. So Lisa L. Baker, before we say goodbye, what would you like to leave the audience with?
Oh my gosh, what I would like to leave the
Mhm.
audience with, listen, is there is no better time than right now to be exactly who you're created to be and live the life that you will love.
Oh, I love that. I mean, it's nothing else to say. So, Lisa L. Baker, I thank you so much for your time, for your voice. And again, those who are watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast platform, thank you so much. Please continue to do so, share, because the mission of an intimate conversation with women of color is to elevate the voices of women of color. And in order to do that, we need to reach them, and that's where you can help. So thank you, everybody. And until next time, bye.
Bye.